Hi, welcome to my video on arc length of a circle. The arc of a circle is part of the circumference of the circle. Here we have a circle which is O is the center, and the arc AB is part of the circumference. So if we draw the radii, the radius OB, and OA, radii are equal, we have a central angle. So this central angle AOB is a part of the 360, which if you rotate all the way around here, around O, you get 360 degrees. So the arc AB is a part of the circumference, so it's a fraction of the circumference, because when you rotate around the circle, you have 360 degrees. So the arc is a part of 360. So let's do some examples. Find the fraction of the circumference. O is the center of each circle. So number one, we have a circle, and we want to find what part the arc PT is of the circle. So notice we have PT is a minor arc named with two letters. So POT is the central angle. So that, and the arc PT is the same measure as the central angle, so 90. So the arc PT is 90 degrees out of 360. So that is, when you reduce it, you get 90 into 360 goes 4. So we have 1/4 of the circumference. The arc is 1/4 of the circumference. Number two, again, we want to do the arc VE. And the central angle VOE is a central angle because it's made up of two radii. So the 120 degree central angle means the arc is 120. So the arc is 120 out of 360. So that's once, and that's 3 times. So the arc VE is 1/3 of the circumference. That's the fraction of the total distance around. And number 3, we have it done a little bit different. Again, we have angle A is 30, so this angle is 30 here. And the two sides are equal, so that means if two sides are equal, two angles are equal by ITT. So we have 180, and subtract 30. That gives us 150 degrees. So we take 150 and divide by 2, we get 75 degrees. So each angle is 75 degrees. So what we have is we want what part is the arc AC of the circumference. So since ABC is an inscribed angle, so the inscribed angle is half the circumference, half the arc, which is the circumference. So twice 75 is 150. So the arc AC is 150 degrees, so that's 150 degrees out of 360. So we divide by 10, so we cancel the zeros. So 3 into 15 goes 5. 3 into 36 goes 12. So we have 5/12 of the circumference. So this arc is 5/12. And since the two chords are equal, that means this arc, AB, this arc is the same measure as this one. So the arc AB is 5/12 of the circle. And so the other part, angle A, would be 30. So that means the arc BC is 60 degrees. So 60 out of 360, which would make it 1/6. And let's continue. Now let's look at the formula for the arc length. The arc length is a fraction of the circumference. So the arc length is theta, is the central angle or the measure of the arc over 360 times the circumference. So it's a fraction of the circumference. But the circumference is 2 pi r. So the formula for arc length is the central angle or the measure of the arc in degrees over 360 times 2 pi r, where theta is the measure of the arc or the measure of the central angle in degrees, and r is the radius of the circle. So let's find some arc lengths. Find the arc length of each. All units are in feet. O is the center of each circle. So O is the center of each circle. So we want to find the length of the arc AB to the nearest tenth. So we AB, the arc length of AB is theta over 360 times circumference 2 pi r. So we have the central angle is 60, the radius is 8, so if the AOB is the central angle made up of two radii and at the center, vertex at the center, that means the measure of the arc is 60 degrees with circumference, so we have 60 divided by 360 degrees times 2 times pi, and the radius is 8. And again, the units are feet, so we just put 8 here. So 60 once, 60 goes into 360 6 times, and 2 once, 2 into that is 3, so that gives 8 pi over 3. But we don't want the answer in terms of pi, so that means that we change pi either to, you can use pi on your calculator, go 3 times pi divided by 3, and that will give you 8.377, etc. And so to the nearest tenth would be 8.4. And if you change your pi to 3.14 divided by 3, you would get 8.3733, but to the nearest tenth, it becomes still 8.4. So you can use pi on your calculator, or not. Don't use 3.14, or you can use 3.14 and just round it off. It's your choice. Number 2, we have a circle, and O is the center of the circle, and we want to find the measure of TVW. Notice we have 3 letters. So this is the arc, the minor arc TW. The arc TVW is a major arc because it's more. This is less than 180, and this arc here is more than 180. So if TW is the minor arc, TW is 150. So we want to find what this arc is. So we have a 360 degrees, subtract 150, that gives us 210. So this arc, the measure of the arc, so the arc length of, we're going to get the arc TV, we're going to put a W there, TVW. This arc length would be theta over 360 times 2 pi r. And we want it in terms of pi. So, and the diameter is 12. So we have, if this is 150, this one is 210. So we got 210 degrees over 360 times 2 times pi, and the radius. Well, your diameter is 12. So twice the radius is your diameter. So 2r is 12, so your radius is 6. So we put 6 in, and now we reduce it. So cancel out the zeros because you're dividing by 10. 3 into 21 goes 7. 3 into 36 goes 12. And 2 times 6 is 12. And that's a 12. So 2 and 6, that's 12. It cancels here to make 1 and 1 and 1. So we get 7 pi. And the units are in feet. So we got 7 pi feet. So notice here, I'm rounding it to the nearest tenth. Here, I'm using it in getting the answer in terms of pi. If you want a decimal for it, you take 7 and multiply by pi, and you get a decimal for it. But we want it in terms of pi. That's the exact answer. Okay, let's continue with another one. A circle with a center O has a diameter AB. When the diameter is extended at point B, point P is 4 units outside the circle. From point P, a tangent 7.9 units long is drawn to the circle intersecting at point T. Find the measure of the arc TB to the nearest tenth of a unit. So Let's draw the diagram. Let's see what we have here. Here we go. We got a circle. The center of the circle is O. So let's make that O the center of the circle. And it has a diameter. So let's draw the diameter like this. The diameter is AB. When the diameter is extended, at B, point P is 4 units outside the circle. So the diameter is extended at B. So here we go, 4 units. So there's point P. The diameter is extended at B, 4 units. So there's 4 units out from the circle. From P, a tangent 7.9 long is drawn to the circle. So from P, we're going to draw a tangent to touch the circle at point P intersecting the circle at T, and that's 7.9 units long. Find the measure of the arc. So we got to find the measure of this arc right here. So we need a triangle. So let's draw OT. OT is the radius. OB is the radius. OA is a radius. So that's our radius. All radii are equal. Now, because we have a tangent at point T, so the radius and the tangent forms a 90-degree angle. So that means we have a right triangle. So we can set up the right triangle, and we can say C squared equals A squared plus B squared. So the hypotenuse is R plus 4 squared. A is R, and B is 7.9. So we square this out. Now how we square a binomial, we square the first term, we get R squared. We multiply 4 by R and double it, so that's a plus 8R. And we square 4, and we get 16. So that's R squared. And 7.9 squared is 62.41. The R squareds cancel out because they're on each side. So that means 8R is equal to 62.41 minus 16. 8R is 46.41. And we divide by 8, R is equal to 5.8. We're going to the nearest 10, so we'll go 5.8. Now there's another way to do that. That's one way. But you could also do it by the product of the secant and the tangent. And that is, the outside is 4. And all of it is R plus 4. So that's 2R plus 4. And this is the tangent. So all of it is 7.9 times outside. So the outside and all of it is 7.9. So that leaves us with, multiply that, we get 8R plus 16, and 7.9 times 7.9 is the same as squaring, is 62.41. So now this is the same. So we could do it this way or this way. We still get the same answer. So what happens is that we want to get the measure of this arc, which means we have to get the measure of this arc is equal to the measure of the central angle. So TOB or TOP is the central angle. So let's name this central angle as Y. So if let's draw that triangle now so you can see it. I know you can see it, but just to make sure, we got T, we got O, and we got P. So this central angle is Y. This is the right angle. We have 7.9 there. We have the radius as 5.8. So we need this angle. And to get that angle, we have to use SOHCAHTOA. Sine is opposite over hypotenuse. Cos is adjacent over hypotenuse. Tan is opposite over adjacent. So in relation to this right triangle, opposite Y, this is the opposite side, and this is the adjacent side, and this is the hypotenuse. So we're not using the hypotenuse, we're using tan. So the tan of y of the angle is the opposite, which is 7.9 divided by 5.8. So that means that y is equal to tan to the negative 1 of 7.9 divided by 5.8. So when you work that out on the calculator and you get it to the nearest tenth, we get 53.7. To the nearest degree is 54. So we need to get the arc length. So the central angle is 53.7. So therefore, the arc length of, we're doing TB, is the central angle over 360 times 2 pi r. And we're going to the nearest tenth, so it's 53.7 degrees over 360 degrees times 2 times pi, and the radius is 5.8. So when you work that out on your calculator, you will get 5.436. Check your calculator. And so the answer is approximately, going to the nearest tenth, 5.4. And it just said units. It didn't say what it was, so it's 5.4 units. So if it was in centimeters, it's 5.4 centimeters. 5.4 inches or feet, whatever unit is in. Okay, let's continue. Now we have the last one to do here. Two tangents are drawn. Oops, straighten this up. Two tangents are drawn to a circle from the same point. The angle formed by the tangents is 40. The area of the circle is 36 pi square feet. Find the length of the major arc in terms of pi. So let's draw a little diagram. There it is. Two tangents are drawn from the same point. So let's pick this point here and call it P. So two tangents are drawn to the circle from this point. So we'll just do a little sketch. I always like to draw a little sketch. So the two tangents are drawn touching the circle at a point, and the angle formed by the tangents is 40 degrees. So that's 40 degrees here. And the area of the circle, so the area of the circle is 36 pi feet square feet. Find the measure of the major arc. Well, if this is the minor arc, so let's put some letters here. Let's call this A. Let's call this B. Let's say we have a center of the circle, which is O. So if this is the center of the circle, and the radius is drawn to A, the radius is drawn to B, the radii and the tangent forms a 90-degree angle. So these angles are 90 degrees. So if we have what we have here is a quadrilateral. If these angles are 90, that's 180. These two are 180. So that means 180 minus 40. This central angle here is 140. So AOB is the central angle, 140. That means the arc AB is 140 degrees because the central angle is equal to the measure of the arc. That means that we have 360 minus 140, and that gives us 220. So this is the major arc here. So this major arc is 220 degrees from here to here. So we want to get the length of the major arc in terms of pi. So let's see. The major arc is, let's put a letter here and call it F. So the arc length, and I name it as AFB, is theta over 360 times 2 pi r. So we have 220 degrees over 360 times 2 times pi. We want it in terms of pi. We need the radius. We don't have the radius. Oh, we look back here. The area of the circle is 36 pi. So the area of the circle is pi r squared. So that means that pi r squared is equal to 36 pi and a feet squared. So the pi's cancel out. So r is equal to plus or minus the root of 36. So r is plus or minus 6. So the radius can't be negative, so 6. So we put 6 in, and we reduce this fraction down. Again, divide by 10, the zeros cancel out. And it's even, so we divide by 2, we get 11. Divide by 2, we get 18. And 2 into 18 goes 9. And we got a 1 there, and we got a 6. So 3 into 6 goes 2. 3 into 9 goes 3. So we have 11 times 2 is 22 pi on the top. And the denominator is 3. And it's in feet. So we want the answer in terms of pi. And again, just a little problem, worked out a little bit different. And that ends the video. And if you like my video, click on the like button, click on the subscribe button if you want to be a subscriber. Visit my math website, www.mathfullyexplained.com, to find more information about me, my videos, and the content. That's the content on my YouTube channel called Math Fully Explained, just one word. Thank you for viewing my video. Hope the video helped you. Bye-bye.